Somebody.
Welcome back to week 9 of Wilton Anglican Youth Online. I'm Scott, and today we're diving into why we should approach our Bible studiously. This comes from Matt Smeth's book, Before You Open Your Bible. Before that, I wanted to remind you that in the next couple of weeks, Wilton Anglican Youth is seriously looking at how we can return to face-to-face youth meetings as the restrictions on gatherings ease. If you have any thoughts, questions, or worries from you or your parents, you can get in contact with me at scott@pwac.org.au. So back to approaching our Bible studiously. When I was in high school, I would never have called myself a theologian. But if you didn't already know, I'm a full-time student at Moore Theological College. I'm literally at uni to be a theologian. And that's kind of weird to think that I was in the same place as you, and one day I went on to go to uni to be a theologian. But you know, theology is literally the study of God. And so anyone who studies God is a theologian. You might think theology is a thing for Christian geeks, or just for the ministers. You might have some appreciation for some scholars who wrote some good stuff about God. But a lot of people live as if Christianity was all about your heart and your hands. Take a sec now to write down what you think it means for Christianity to be about your heart and your hands. Now actually do it. Open Word or Notes and grab your notepad, or just write down what you think it means for Christianity to be about just your heart and your hands. Okay, last week I shared my favourite verse on Zoom around our digital bonfire. Can anyone remember where that verse was from? That's right, it comes from Psalm 119. Psalm 119 verse 99 says, "I have more insight than all my teachers, for I meditate on your statutes. I have more understanding than the elders, for I obey your precepts." You might have thought you were finished with Sunday school when you got to year 7, but it seems that even in high school, even in the school holidays, and even after school, even after uni, the school of God is always open. It's always term time when it comes to Christianity. Don't cringe too hard though, because it's not really like school. It's more like your favourite celebrity, who you know every detail about. Your favourite video game, which you know every Easter egg in. Or your favourite movie, where you know every word to the soundtrack. The Bible is like those things which we love to learn more about. You won't study the Bible because you just love studying. Nobody will force you to do it, and there'll be no exam. We just study the Bible because we want to, because we want to know more about our God. And since we all have opinions and ideas about God, since we're always learning about God, that means you and me are theologians. We're not professional theologians, but we are all theologians. So give yourself a little pat on the back for that. Now, when it comes to knowing stuff about things, there's nothing worse than when someone gets it wrong, especially if they're wrong about you. If I was talking to you about my wife and I told you she was incredible and amazing, she's from Perth, she's got amazing blonde hair, and she absolutely hates chocolate, then my real wife, the chocolate-loving brunette from Sydney, would not be impressed at all. And it's kind of the same with God, but it's on a much higher level. We need to get it right when we think and talk about God. Go and have a look at Matthew chapter 22 verses 36 and 37 and write down the 3 things Jesus tells us to love God with. You see, Christianity is not just about your heart and your hands. It's also about our heads and our minds. So are you a theologian? If you think and know things about God, then you are. Matt Smethis uses the image of a lake of God's knowledge. He says, don't just water ski across the surface of Scripture's waters. Put on scuba gear. Dive in and explore the wonders of the biblical world. In some ways, you have no chance of mastering the Bible, because in reality, a good theologian is the person who is mastered by the Bible. So let's submerge ourselves and let the Bible master us. If you get a chance, read Acts 17 verses 10 to 12 and do the light question arrow, because we'll be looking at it a bit more on Friday night. Now that's it from me. For all the information, head to pwac.org.au/youth. And until next time, God bless.
Somebody.